I got dumped over text, and my dad said the one thing I never forgot. I was in my mid-20s, but I felt closer to 40 every time I looked in the mirror. 3 years with my ex-fiancée had worn me down in ways I didn't even have words for. From the outside, we looked solid. From the inside, it felt like living in a house that was always one slammed door away from collapsing. She'd tear me down, then tell me I was overreacting when I got hurt. If I tried to stand up for myself, I was too sensitive. If I stayed quiet, I was emotionally distant. So I did what a lot of stupid, scared people do. I told myself this was just what love looked like for people who were passionate. I convinced myself that I could fix it if I just tried harder, stayed calmer, swallowed a little more of myself every day. We were working on things, and at least that's what she said. She kept telling me she needed time, space, patience, understanding. Meanwhile, I was clinging to this idea of a future where she suddenly woke up one day and decided to stop treating me like a punching bag with a savings account. One afternoon while I was at work, she texted me that she might swing by the apartment to grab a couple of things. I didn't think much of it. When I got home that night, the place looked like a crime scene after the cleaners had done their job. Her clothes gone, her books gone, her photos gone, the bed gone. What was left was a stained old chair in the corner, and this echo in the room that felt louder than any argument we'd ever had. All the spaces where her stuff used to be felt like they were pointing at me, laughing. We didn't talk about it. No long breakup conversation, no dramatic fight, just emptiness. A week passed where we stayed in that strange, silent, half-broken state. Then I took a trip back to my old college town with a friend. Nostalgia, cheap beer, pretending life was simpler than it really was. In the middle of that trip, my phone buzzed. It was her. No greeting, no preamble. Just a text, a few sentences long, saying she was done. We were over. She hoped I'd find someone better suited to me. At the very end, like a punchline to a cruel joke, she added that I was a coward for not ending it first. I stared at the screen for a long time. Part of me wanted to laugh. Part of me wanted to throw my phone into the nearest river. If I was honest with myself, I'd been waiting for that message for months. I just didn't want to be the one to press the detonator. That night, I went back home and got ready to go out with my best friend. He'd just gone through his own breakup, so we'd planned a mutual pity party. Cheap drinks, bad decisions, whatever it took to feel anything other than numb. As I was heading for the door, I walked past my dad sitting at the kitchen table. He was nursing a cup of coffee, like it was the only thing holding him together. I tried to play it cool. Maybe I'll find someone to bring home tonight, I joked. Rebound therapy. My dad reached out and put his hand on my shoulder. Hold up a second. You have to understand something about my father. He's not the speech-giving type. He's the kind of man who can go a whole car ride in silence and somehow make it feel comfortable instead of awkward. He doesn't talk unless he's weighed every word first. He looked me dead in the eye, and there was nothing soft in his expression. Just this heavy, tired sort of concern. He said, "Listen carefully. I love you, and you're one of the strongest men I know. But every time you get into a relationship, you disappear. You turn into this hollow version of yourself. Before you even think about being with anyone else, you need to figure out who you are when you're alone. Don't argue with me. Just sit with that." For a second, I forgot how to breathe. The words landed like a slap. Not because they were cruel, but because they were true in a way I'd spent years trying not to see. Every instinct in me lit up with the urge to defend myself. I wanted to tell him he didn't understand, that he hadn't seen what she was like, that I was just trying to make it work. I could feel my jaw clench, my hands curl into fists. But under all that anger was something worse: recognition. He was right. Somewhere between trying to be the perfect boyfriend and the perfect fiancé, I'd stopped being a person. I went out that night, but I didn't get drunk. I didn't go home with anyone. I just sat with my friend, nursed a couple of drinks, and replayed my dad's words over and over in my head like a song I couldn't turn off. Over the next few weeks, the silence after the breakup stopped feeling like punishment and started feeling like an open space. Terrifying, but open. And in that space, I had to make a choice. Either run back into another relationship just to prove I could, or do the thing I'd been avoiding my whole life: be alone with myself. So I stayed single, Not just technically single, but emotionally tangled up with someone. Actually single, I signed up for a boxing class because I was tired of feeling weak. I started lifting weights, not to impress anyone, but to prove to myself I could be disciplined about something that wasn't another person. I ran obstacle races, mud, barbed wire, the whole cliche. The kind of stuff that forces you to keep moving when every muscle is screaming at you to quit. I picked up extra shifts, saved money, traveled when I could. I worked a seasonal job at a haunted attraction, jumping out at strangers in the dark and making them scream. Weirdly enough, scaring people for fun made me less scared of my own life. Little by little, my world stopped revolving around whether someone else was happy with me. I started asking whether I was happy with me. 2 years passed like that. Not perfect years. There were lonely nights, bad days, moments when I almost slid back into old habits. But they were mine. For the first time, my life was something I was building, not something I was begging someone else to stay inside of. Eventually, work took me to a new city, new apartment, new streets, new grocery store where nobody knew my name. It felt like stepping onto a blank page. And that's where it happened. Not in some dramatic movie-style moment, just a random Tuesday at a work event I almost skipped because I was tired. She was there, complaining about the terrible coffee. We started talking. There was no lightning bolt, no instant obsession, just ease. She asked about my life, and for the first time, I had an answer that didn't start with a woman's name. We swapped stories, laughed about the stupid things we'd put up with in past relationships. When I went home that night, I realized something quietly terrifying. I liked her. But more importantly, I liked the person I was around her. I didn't feel like I was shrinking myself or auditioning for a role. I was just me. Months later, she became my girlfriend. Years later, she became my wife. But she didn't fix me, and I didn't save her. We met after we had each done the work of saving ourselves. Sometimes, when things are quiet and the house feels too peaceful to be real, I think back to that text from my ex and that moment at the kitchen door with my dad's hand on my shoulder. Getting dumped over text hurt, but that wasn't the moment that changed my life. The moment that changed everything was when my father looked at the wreckage I'd helped build and loved me enough to tell me I was the one who needed to change. It felt like getting hit with a sledgehammer, but if he hadn't swung it, I might still be out there trying to earn love by disappearing into whoever wanted me next. Instead, I got something better. I got myself back first. And because of that, when the right person finally showed up, I was actually ready to meet her,